PeachCon 2025. How did it go? Was it better than last year? Will I do another one? Well, in this video, I'm going to review it and talk about the highlights, the pros and cons of running your own con. I'm Peachy, and this is Peachy Tips. Last year, I ran a small event called PeachCon, and it was kind of a symbolic thank you to all the support I got from my patrons, as well as other people like friends and family, and everyone was invited down. It was a free event. Food was put on, tea and coffee and stuff like that. Obviously, it was UK based, so if you lived in the States or elsewhere in the world, it's not exactly practical, but it was a symbolic gesture of a thank you. So I thought this year, after a lot of feedback, because I got a fair bit of feedback from last year, going, it'll be really nice to get some vendors in, some traders, maybe some like different things to look at, some different games. So I took on board the feedback and thought, cool, let's look at getting some traders in. Smart. So that is really what I intended to do with this year's PeachCon, is make it bigger, grow it out, and also invite non-patrons down, because a lot of people that weren't patrons were like, oh, I'd love to come down. So PeachCon 2025 was inclusive to all, well within the confines and limits of the school capacity for the whole, I guess. Now, when you run an event, and initially it starts off quite small and cozy, and there's a handful of people come down, like 100 or so, that's quite cool, it's quite fun. When you decide to grow that and make it bigger to include vendors, I mean, that brings up a whole load of new headaches and challenges to overcome. Luckily, I was armed with my secret weapon, John Sanders, one of my patrons who helped me out on the initial PeachCon from last year, and reached out and said, look, I can help you with some planning and logistics. And I think without John's help, PeachCon 2025 probably wouldn't have been as cool and as amazing as it was this year. Armed with his Trello software for like calendars and like organising stuff like that, John kept me up to date. He helped sort out loads of stuff around the peripherals, getting like food vendors sorted, contacting vendors, organising gaming tables. So massive shout out to you, John. You really helped so much. That's something I would say as well. If you are organising an event, if you're creative like me and your headspace can be a little bit floaty and timey-wimey, which it usually is, back in the old days when I was a manager, I was a little bit more sort of concentrating on logistics and stuff and less creativity. Whereas now I'm just like, I like to paint and colour in. So a lot of the organising stuff has just disappeared. Always very hard to get back into, but having someone like John really helped and kept me updated and reminded me. It was gentle reminders of like doing certain things, which was really, really useful. So if you are planning on running your own event, and you are a little bit flimsy with the old brain like me, find someone that knows this kind of stuff, or is good at prodding, or got a stronger personality, or a little bit firmer to like make the calls of like yes and no, because I like to say yes to everyone, which we'll find out in a moment, because that kind of caused a headache for me, because I hate saying no. It might be the Buddha in me. Not actually a Buddha, but it might be the Buddha in me. So straight after last year's event, I was on a high. I thought it was amazing. I was like, yep, definitely doing it again. It went really, really well. There's a few challenges to overcome, obviously, with growing it. So initially it was at my wife's school, which had like a community lounge. It had the capacity of like 100 people. So I was like looking at doubling that if I could. Now, there's a Warhammer dad who I often see in the morning when I'm taking charge of school. Matt, shout out to Matt Smith, art teacher at West Park School, which is really close by. He was like, we have a space, you know, maybe you want to have a look at West Park. So took a trip down, and yeah, it was a really, really nice space. I thought this is quite good. And also because we're quite centralized, you know, you're in the lead belt of miniature wargaming. I mean, the A52 is a dual carriage, or highway if you like, that connects Derby and Nottingham. So it's really on the doorstep of a really big arterial road that is great for like travel links. If you're a vendor, it's easy just to like slip on the slip road and get to the school. And it was close by for me as well. So it made sense to go with that school. And it was a really, really nice space. Next year, I'm going to increase that and use the sports hall as well. But yes, thank you, Matt, for reaching out and saying like, we've got a space, it's worth using it. And a big shout out to West Park as well, because they were really, really cool. They were like, yeah, man, use what you want. We've got a drama room. You can put your paint stuff in there. They had a really cool sort of gin bar, they called it, which I use as a breakaway room for like the creators that came down. But also like if anyone like had autism or just needed a quiet space just to get away, which some people made use of, it was really nice for that. So definitely making sure I'm making use of these spaces next year, because it was just really, really nice. Obviously with running it this year, I've got a load of things in my head now, which will be like, oh, Mrs. Peach was selling lots of the miniatures and stuff, which I'll come to in a moment, mugs. Maybe I'll make the entrance a little bit more around there, guide people through, because we were a bit separated and it got hard to have tea breaks and pee breaks. I know Mrs. Peach was a little bit like, can someone cover me? It's really hard. And I was like, yes, sorry, babes. Sorry for that. Now, the next step was to get obviously some traders in, some vendors, and obviously ask the guys that came down with their games and did demos and participation games to come back next year. Now, I procrastinated quite a lot because the initial idea was to do it straight after the event, but making videos and just doing other stuff kind of gets in the way. And I was like, oh, I'll do it after Christmas then. Oh, I'll do it after Adepticon. Eventually, I got my ass kicked up by John with a good boot of the butt, which I deserved. He wasn't that bad, actually. He was just lots of gentle reminders. But we got organised and we started putting the call out. I lit the beacons and sent out emails to lots of companies. Some never responded, which is totally fine because it is a new event. It is quite small. So I wasn't expecting anyone to come back, but loads did. And it was really nice to see loads of people go, love to do it. Really gutted with a couple because I either didn't spot, because obviously you get loads of spam and stuff like that in your emails and notifications for YouTube and Patreon, which I should try and turn off or move into a different folder. No one needs to know about that. But 2 companies reached out and were like, and I didn't spot it until it was too late. And that was Crooked Dice, which is one of my favourite miniature companies, and Sarissa Precision, who I have fallen in love with because I got some of their MDF terrain years ago, some of their sci-fi 28 stuff. But because they've been doing the Traitors Toll scenery, and obviously there's all the Gangs of Rome World War II scenery they do, it was just really, it would have been great to have had them there as well with a stand showing their wares off. And, pre-coloured MDF scenery is key when you are a hobbyist with very little time and you need to get scenery done. So I'm gutted. I'm really sorry, guys, that I just missed your messages. I hope you can forgive me. And yes, definitely spaces for next year. Absolutely. 100%. But yeah, I'm just going to reel off a bunch of the trade stands that turn up and just, thank you for helping make PeachCon exciting and awesome and bringing lots of your awesome energy and positivity, because you did. You made the day amazing. So let's read off who we got. So we had Exit 23, we had Warp Miniatures, Warlord Games, the Spare Parts Emporium, run by Pete the War Games. We had Rogue Hobbies down as well. There was Warblade, Hailing Terrain, Tesseract Miniature Studio, selling some of his brushes, Bad Squiddo. I think Annie was a bit like, I wasn't expecting it to be this big, not like last year. I mean, it was pretty casual and cool, the stuff that she had anyway, so everyone enjoyed what they could see. And she did like a nice discount code for anyone that arrived at PeachCon, which was super smart. Nice one, Annie. Then there was a Tabletop Smithy. Ian from Fenris Games. Love Ian stuff. Really big fan of his Rubble City terrain. I use that a lot in some of my sharp battle reports as well. So yes, thank you, Ian, for popping down. And of course, we had North Star military figures. Now, initially, I wasn't sure what North Star would be bringing down, but Joe, love you, Joe. Shout out to Joe. Joe is Nick Ayer's son, who runs North Star military figures. He just rocked up with loads of products that were related to the videos I've done, which made a lot of sense because a lot of people at the event would probably be into the games that I've talked about. And he had to do a second trip back to the lockup to get more stuff because it did well. I think that was really nice as well. It was like, I really appreciate these vendors saying yes and coming down, and I kind of wanted to make it worth their while as well. And I'm glad that it went well for them. I'm glad that the customers had such a great time, like seeing these people in the flesh, engaging with them. Might not necessarily have met them before or like looked at the products before, so it was really nice that they got the opportunity to do that. But yeah, it was just nice, and for me, really vindicating that it went well for them, it went well for the customers, it went well for me. And yeah, definitely lots of sign-ups for next year. So big hearts to you all if I do that right. Oh, I'll do the little ones. Also, a shout out to Paul Hicks and Andy Hobday. They rocked up. So Futsal Miniatures, Hobday Hicks. They've done Baron's War. They've got obviously their Warhouse stuff. Paul just wanted to rock down, do some sculpting, show off a load of his new halflings, which are amazing. I know Jordan does a video talking about showing some of the stuff he's got. So check out Jordan's video because he does a positive review of PeachCon. Thank you, Jordan. But yes, so Paul was there showcasing some of his craft. We had Andy Hobday running Baron's War in the centre near where we had Rogue Hobbies and Warlord. So he was just happily just teaching people the rules for that as well. Also sat with Paul as well, doing some sculpting, was Clan Black Painting. Now, I've chatted to Clan Black Painting many times on social media, whether that's Blue Sky or Instagram. He presented me with a beautiful figure of Captain Sweet William Fredrickson. Now, if anyone knows the channel, they know I love Sharp and I do a fair few battle reports on Sharp. I also have 2 versions now of Sweet William. I have the version that I've got here, which was presented to me with his full on with his horse hair, his false teeth and his eye patch. and tremendously painted and well sculpted as well. So thank you for that. And I also have the version I've done where he's more battle ready. He's removed the horsehair wig, the false teeth made from dead French soldiers, and the eye patch. So he's a little bit more ready for doing some fighting. But I prefer the one that Clan Black painted did because he's far cooler. So I wasn't expecting that. That was out the blue. So thank you so much for just passing that on. It was wild and it made my day. Among many things. There's so many things that made my day. There's going to be a lot of that, I think, in this video. This made my day. That made my day. What can I say? It was a great day. Talking of sculpting and miniatures, at PeachCon, folks were able to buy the officer or rifleman Peach miniature sculpted by the super talented Tom Wallace of Rogue Hobbies and Rascaltown fame. Now, I did pretty much sell out at the event, but rest assured to all those who have asked, I will be getting more made and some way of selling them via a legit website. I mean, look at him. Look at him. What a majestic bastard. Now, a big learning I had when running this con, and this is great advice for anybody who decides or wants to run their own con, is when you are getting traders in, making sure you are absolutely 100% sure of the size and space of your plot or area, and able to squeeze all these varying sizes of plots that the actual trade stands want. So some were only like 6 foot by 4, some wanted like 30 by 12. So, you know, there was lots of different requirements for lots of different companies. Now, I did get a layout from Matt organised that, and John were sorting it together. So that was really helpful. They were logistically organising, obviously, which trade stands can go and where. But when I visited the actual school initially, I was just like, this is pretty big. And then over the time, because I didn't go back for at least a month or two, it kind of got smaller and smaller in my head. And I started to get a bit panicky because I said yes to lots of people coming down. And I was like, why have I done that? Maybe I'm going to have to need to hire the actual sports hall now to fill all these people in. But on the day, because I decided, this is the wise part, and I know a lot of cons do this, so it's not like nothing new, but I kind of hired the Saturday out for setup and then the Sunday for the day. Now, I knew a fair few wouldn't turn up until the Sunday to do setting up. We had a couple of hours in the morning to do that. A lot of them were like quite quick with the setting up anyway, but having that extra day really, really helped. One of the things I did find was tables were on a shortage at school as well. There was a load of like decorating trestle tables that are available. There's some really, really nice, because it was in a canteen and where they do a lot of their exams as well. But they started to fill out quite quickly. We started to use them quite quickly. There was a lot of shifting around here and there, but there were some nice tables that had 4 seats, which was great for like small games like Warcry, Silver Bayonet, all the skirmish stuff that I talk about. They were perfect for the gaming and demo stuff. But for like trade stands, they actually started to get really, really sort of empty of tables quite quickly. So I was starting to get like the panics and the stresses, definitely the headaches. But the guy, Andy, who was the caretaker, was there, unlocked different classrooms, and we were able to get more tables. And on the day when more people turned up, there was always spare tables. So that was my biggest worry, was the table situation. But I know for next year, now I've been there and I've seen the things in place, because that's something in your mind, like I know what a 6'4" table looks like when people are playing games, but when people start asking for like double that or triple that, it just becomes an amorphous blob of size, and you think, well, that will fit it in. But everyone fit in, everyone had space, everyone was able to sell stuff. But yes, I reckon next year when I do it, I will go, once I know how many stores are coming or vendors, go again, tape out areas and make sure everyone can fit in, and obviously use that plan again, and probably have similar places for the similar traders like I did this year as well, so it's not as confusing for like people that came this year. For next year, they'll kind of roughly know where they're going as well. But yes, planning. Failure to plan is planning to fail, they say. It's a true story. Very true. So as well as getting traders in, I also reached out to a whole bunch of content creators that I thought might be interested or are quite local, and just in general, any of them. And a load just said, yeah, we'd love to come down. We had Dave Walker, MS Paints. Often see him at ChillCon and other events, Partisan as well. So I know he will travel local, and he lives up in the old Yorkshire place. So it was nice seeing Dave. I also made sure I brought the correct brand of hobnobs, not Otis from Audi. Sorry, Hector. So I think me and Hector are friends again now. But it was really nice seeing Dave. Didn't get much chance to catch up with him, but it was nice him there. And loads of people. And this is the other thing as well. A load of my, I guess, followers, supporters also support lots of these other channels. So it's nice for them to see them in the same space as well. And that's something I want to do more with PeachCon, is grow it to more content creators being able to like talk about their stuff. And, you know, because we do share pools of supporters. It makes sense to all be in the same place. Content Creator Con. No, doesn't roll off the tongue very well. But yeah, we had Dave, MS Paints Dave. So that was nice. We also had Jordan Saucy arrive. Love Jordan. Love watching his lore stuff. It's just great when I'm painting, just having Jordan in the background. I've always thought Jordan is one of those people that felt like he worked at workshop. He never has. But he just knows so much because he's good at his research. And I know a lot of my supporters and like people like Gary Morley, Paul Hicks, they're big fans of Jordan as well. Gary Morley, obviously, thank you so much for coming down. He's come to both PeachCons now. I often see him at other events. It's just really nice for him to see him in the flesh again. Do need to take up on the offer of a coffee, and also you've mentioned like teach me some sculpting as well. So I do need to do that on the way to Jugs or whatever, or after Jugs. But yeah, Jordan, love Jordan. He's great. Big fan of Jordan. Well, everyone's a big fan of Jordan. He's just a nice guy. He also did a quiz. Now, I'm going to kind of link to why he did a quiz, but he did a last minute off the cuff quiz to just for fun. But we had a space set aside for Andy Perkins, the Remembrancer of, that's the Law Channel, the Remembrancer, or he does Law Crimes, which is their podcast. He came down because he always comes down. He's great. We love Andy. Andy, we love you. You're the best. He was really ill. Really badly ill. He did not look like a happy chappy. Had not slept for 4 days, I think it was. Pans out he had some horrible fever. But long story short, he was like, I can't do the seminar. I was like, don't worry about it. It's cool, dude. I wasn't expecting you to do it. You look like you should probably be in bed asleep. I can't sleep, Peach. Well, you just sit down and rest and we'll get you some coffee or whatever. But he was there. It was really nice for him to travel all that way, even though he was ill. So thank you so much, Andy, for just doing that. You're a super cool human being. And I'm glad you're feeling better. Just word of to the people that are watching, he is better now. He's much better. But he was going to do a seminar about law, but he couldn't. And then Jordan stepped in because the space was already there. So thank you, Jordan, for doing that. We also had a whole bunch of others that just turned up. I wasn't expecting it. It was kind of out of the blue when they messaged me saying they're going to come down to PeachCon, which was really, really cool. We had Chloe Ratcliffe as well, Lady Kane. And then there was Billy and Jake from Vanguard Tactics. They rocked up as well. So many people. And if I've missed your names, I'll do this. I need to be better at this. So many names in the brain, it gets all distorted after a while. But it was really nice just having all these people just come to my silly little event to say thank you to my patrons and just have a great time. And of course, I can't forget Rogue Hobbies. Louise, thank you, because you did. So she said she didn't do any work, but she kind of did all this footage for me. And obviously Tom brought down a load of miniatures for me to use. Thank you, Tom. Use, sell, as well as obviously selling their own stuff. We also had Ollie from Blackheart Minis come down as well. So he was just roaming around doing some reporting, getting lots of footage of stuff as well. And just, you know, generally interviewing people about the day and whatever. And obviously I got a little interview as well. So that's on Instagram. There's reels going around. There was one bit where I'm being interviewed and I'm just covered in stamps because my small boy, Charlie, he was at the door as what I wanted to do as well. When people were coming in, I thought, you know what, I'll be by the door so I can welcome and shake everyone's hand and say hi and give people their goodie bags or whatever. But everyone got a stamp in case they wanted to go to the village and get like, I don't know, a meal deal from the co-op or whatever. But it was just nice being there at the door, welcoming everyone that came in. I couldn't do it all the time because obviously tea breaks and pee breaks. But my lad Charlie was helping me with the stamping and kind of, misplaced the stamp on his arm quite a lot. It looked like he'd been attacked by an octopus or a squid. It took a few days for that to come out, to be honest. But he was having a great time, which is what it's about. And I think that's something as well. A big shout out to Mrs. Peach and Charlie because they didn't really get a choice. I was doing this and they were like, well, we've got to help out. I mean, it's my husband, it's my dad. It would be rude not to. And, you know, they were there last year. So thank you, Liz, for being. She didn't move from the stand where there was the mugs and the Rifleman Peach model, apart from, you know, having to maybe use the loo from time to time. But yeah, so she was an absolute trooper on the day. And Charlie was just great. I was a bit worried that maybe it would be a bit more overwhelming last year. It was a little bit, but he was fine. He was going around handing out pin badges, doing that this year. Shout out to you too, Dale, for doing all the pin badges. So yeah, he brought them in. He was like, I'm really sorry I'm a bit late. I was like, dude, you've done above and beyond. So I just gave a load to Charlie and he started handing them all around. Didn't get around to handing them all out. I found out at the end there's still a few left. So sorry, Dale, you printed some that didn't get used, which I'm a bit sad about because Charlie will just go so far and be like, have you got a pin badge? Yeah. Have you got a pin badge? Yeah. That must mean everyone's got pin badges. So I did manage to hand out a fair few myself as well. But yes, he had a great time and I hope Mrs. Peach had a great time. having to listen to people talk about what they're going to do. Weird things they're going to do to private Peachy. Apparently, because I had a goodie bag, so if you wanted a premium ticket, there was like a mug in it, you got a tote bag, there was loads of extra bits, like goodies inside of it. But there's also a signed photo of Peach being married to Sean Bean, and I think people are going to turn some models, the Peach model, into a weird wedding cake topper, which sounds somewhat disturbing. But hey, you know, it's their model, they do what they want with it. It's fine. But yeah, it was really nice having all these people, seeing Annie there, Ruby as well, Chris Hanley running games. I'll do some more shout outs about the gaming stuff in a minute or two. Just lots of cool people coming down, just adding a really nice, chilled, family friendly vibe to the whole event, and it was great. Quick shout out to food as well. We had a food vendor come down called Fancy Fries. Now, this is a learning for next year. I will get more food vendors down. I just got the one. I didn't think that many people would want, well, the co-op's near, but they did all right. They did good, but there was big queues, and we did have like snacks and stuff that people could help themselves to in the green room. But yes, that was an oversight on my side. There was one food vendor, so big queue. So I'm really sorry to all those folks that turned up and had to queue for like 30 minutes to get a burger, but they were good burgers. I had them at ChillCon. I got a business card from them because these are nice burgers. I was like, do you, because they're Yorkshire based. I was like, would you do Derby? And they're like, oh yeah, maybe. So I got a card, and then John organised them coming down, and yeah, they did good, and they're definitely coming next year. So we'll definitely have Fancy Fries again, and then try and get some other vendors as well. So there's multiple food choices for people to have. But yes, it went well from a food point of view, but could be much better. The ice cream man didn't turn up either, which is a shame. I did ask an ice cream guy, he was like, there's a big event going on this day, you might want to come down, and they didn't. So learning there was paper trail, emails. That probably the guy forgot the date. So don't have that conversation whilst licking an ice cream at a random event that your kid's attending about football. Yeah, learning from that one. Now, I mentioned earlier, I had a load of people running like demo games, participation games. People just reached out and like, Peachy, I want to bring my game down and talk about it and play games. I was like, do it, have some fun. And they did. And I had to say no to a few people because at this point I was starting to get super worried that I definitely didn't have the space. I was like, bring stuff, and if there's room, bring it out. But I can't guarantee you a spot because I've already guaranteed it to a bunch of people. So we had Chris Hanley doing some War Machine, among other stuff. I had Michael, who's one of my top tier patrons. He wanted to run some Battletech games and teach people like the basics and just go through the general rules and just have some fun with it. He brought all his Battletech stuff from Singapore. Michael, you're a hero. He wanted to come down to PeachCon in the flesh. He's been to the UK like last year. He went to the UK GE or UK Games Expo, met him there, had a chat, did a little tour around Nottingham with him. But this year he wanted to come to PeachCon. So I was like, yes, absolutely. And he was like, I'm bringing me Battletech. I was like, okay. So he ran that. We had Team Yankee being run. Nick Butler was doing volleyball, which was absolutely insane. I mean, it's like volleyball but violent, with a haggis that runs around. I think it's actually, a living haggis. It's insane. Gabriel running Trench Crusade. I don't think he's an angel, but he was an angel on the day. He didn't actually, up to that point, had not played the game. He knew the rules. He just not played a physical game, but he was teaching people and nailing it as well. So that was really good. And then we had a duo running a little mech game, like using Gundam. Really designed for kids, really simple rule system. So shout out to you, Donato, for bringing that down. That was kind of like a last minute one as well. I was like, I'd love to do it, but that got well received as well. So yeah, definitely coming next year because his daughter's really into this kind of stuff. She's super young as well, but you know, it was a really, really nice sort of game system for kids to try, and adults if you're not into too many rules. But there was loads of other games as well. There was like Warcry being run, Spearhead, Necromunda, you name it. It was happening, people having fun, and just generally, if you didn't know about these games and were a bit like, I want to try them out, there was someone there to at least give you some help teaching you. Next year, definitely I'd like to showcase some more stuff like more like Silver Bayonet. I would love to, if I get the opportunity, run like a small sort of storyline for 5 leagues or 5 parsecs. So people roll up the characters, they do like a battle and a little bit of like story thread and stuff like that. So like maybe across like 2 hours, do like a game and then have a break and do like a sci-fi version. But that does mean me not being around doing other stuff. So yes, I'd love to do something like that. Not sure how practical it is though. But yeah, a big thank you to all these folks for running the games, showing people the rules. Really, really appreciate it. Can't wait for next year. You're all invited. we'll just try and have some more people doing different games. I know Dave Andrews wants to just showcase some of his big games. Maybe get the Bodkins down and do like a big battle so people can look at like a proper massive battle of knights fighting knights. That'd be so cool. If Dave wants to do that, there's no pressure. No pressure at all. Can't forget Annie's colouring in corner. That went down really well, certainly with the kids. And with the grown-ups, there was a weird picture of Peachy circling around as Turkey Man. I'm not at all angry. In fact, I'm going to embrace it and use him in Silver Bayonet. So yes, Turkey Man for the win. Love me some Turkey Man. And of course, the man himself, Matt Smith, who basically initially made all this happen by suggesting the school venue, was running a kit bash corner, and he was making scenery, showing people like using, it was like old school Warhammer scenery making. So he had some MDF sort of shells of like ruins, and then just loads of random household bits and components to just make cool looking buildings and scenery. So Matt, great job. I hope it went well. It looked like you were busy all day long. So yes, need to catch up at some point and have that coffee that we keep meaning to do. I mean, we literally live like that. He's like that way. Like I said, 4-minute walk that way. And we don't always get a chance to chat because I'm busy doing this and he's busy at school. It's wild, isn't it? When you live so close and you never get a chance to have a tea or a coffee. Mad. Also, I had a painting competition on the go as well. So last year I did a small one. Well, I say small, lots of people entered, but it wasn't meant to be a big one. The categories are quite simple as well. So I had like single miniature, could be any genre, squad, monster, tank. And there was another category which was warbands on parade. I think a lot of people didn't understand what to do with that. The idea was really having a very useful box, a bit like the Christmas video I did where I had an army in a box kind of thing. And I did kind of mention it in the Patreon, but I guess it was a bit vague. So I won't do that next year. But the categories that people entered, oh, it was amazing. The quality. And I'm not just talking like quality of painting, just like the kit bashing, the ingenuity. It was just nice seeing lots of fun hobby happening. And I think that's the thing I want with PeachCon. I don't want it to be like an elitist painting competition. I want it to be a fun, engaging painting competition that people just have fun and do stuff and like, oh, I painted a gang up. I'm going to put that into the painting competition because I think next year as well, I'm going to do some notable entries as well. So it's not always like gold, silver, bronze. Something that was highlighted as well, actually a day or so just before PeachCon, was like, there's no kids entry, and I'm quite a family friendly sort of orientated person, and I was really annoyed with myself for not doing that. But we made a sort of off the cuff little category and all the kids got something because only 3 entered. But next year I'll make it an actual thing with some proper sort of trophies or whatever to be given. Shout out to Ruby for doing the trophies as well, like little Peachy tips sort of symbols, gold, silver, bronze, paint it all up. Also having you stand there as well, it was really nice. You just hanging out, showcasing your wares if you like, and Becky for your beautiful cakes. Becky, who is Ruby's partner, makes great cakes. She doesn't like eating cakes, but she makes really good cakes. Like Mrs. Peach, she doesn't like drinking tea, but she makes the best tea. I don't get it. It's like, how can, I guess the best chefs probably don't always eat their own wares. I don't know. But yes, the painting competition went really well. Next year, however, I am going to do a category, and it's not negotiable. There is going to be a category for Sharp. So Wargames Atlantic are bringing out a Sharp figure sort of September time. So next year, there'll be enough of them going around. People can enter their Peach model as well, which will be quite good fun. Maybe I could do that as a separate category. I don't know, because Salute does that. But yes, I definitely want a Sharp category, and it could be Sharp as a 28mm figure, the larger scale one, or a full band of chosen men. It's entirely up to you, just the category for that. It's kind of like an open competition, but Sharp. See, I got a Sharp reference in somewhere. Nice. Talking of Sharp references, Nigel turned up as well. Nigel Betts, who did a lot of voiceovers for my Bat Reports. He came a long way from up, down in King's Landing, all the way up. So I appreciated you taking the time to come up to my silly little convention. And yeah, really enjoyed playing Necromunda as well, apparently. So he was playing that, but I probably embarrassed him by doing a shout out at the end. Because I was doing a raffle as well as I was giving prizes out. So prizes for the painting competition. Shout out to Stefan for the coveted flare sword as well. He won the flare sword. A well-made plastic sword from Taiwan that was potentially sprayed with Colourforge's Peachy Peach signature series. Still coveted. I know Tobias, I was about to say Tobe, but Toby, however you want to say it. He won it last year. My thing with winning the flare sword is it's a bit like the Slayer sword. But if you win it, then next year you can't enter, but you can judge. You can be one of the judges. And Tobias was the judge this year with Steve, so which was really, really nice. Alongside the prizes for that, we also had like a raffle. All the vendors threw in some stuff for us to give out in the raffle as well. It probably did go on too long, actually, a bit like this video, but there's a lot of thank yous and just a lot of stuff to talk about. But yeah, so that's a learning for me, is maybe shorten it down, maybe doing it a bit more during the day, maybe the raffle, or split it into two, because there was lots of kids and they probably wanted to go home as well. And also people just want to pack up. It kind of, I think, dragged on, so I was a bit mindful of that at the end. I was like, yeah, next year that went on too long. But yes, that's something that is really key for me. I know Ruby's putting like on the Discord a channel to talk about feedback, so I'll start to like work through that and think about it for next year, things that I'll do differently, things that they may want, things that they don't want to change, they like. But one of the biggest bits of feedback was people love the venue, and I think that's the key thing, is getting the right venue. Sometimes, you know, swapping and changing, you will find the perfect one, and I kind of want to stick with West Park because it's really nice. The head is also very community led as well, so I'm going to make sure he gets loads of this footage. But yeah, big shout out to West Park for just allowing us to use their space, and obviously Andy for being the caretaker on the day and just helping out. An oversight of running an event is parking. So round Spondon, there's lots of off-site parking off the roads and stuff like that. There's a couple of areas that got double yellows, but most of it you can just park on the roadside. And I wasn't expecting as many people to turn up. We sold about, well, at one point it was about 200 tickets, then it just rocked up like the last week or two to get to like 300. And I was like, parking. So I looked at the space. There was about 50 spaces. I was like very mindful that the traders needed to have somewhere to park, but there was a little area where they could park. Also the food vendor as well. And panned out at the end, there was actually a way to on a little gate that led to a field, and usually that's their overflow car park, and Andy opened that during the day. I wish I'd known about that earlier, because I would have made sure that was open from the off. But yeah, no one's complained yet in Spondon about all the car parking. To be honest, I've not asked and not looked at the local Facebook page. I'm sure there's a lot of complaints, but sodden, people had fun. I don't know. I do that when people park outside my drive, to be fair, so I can't judge. Yeah. But yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you to all the vendors and traders that came down, all of the people who ran demo games, the content creators that took time out of their own busy schedules to come down and check out PeachCon, and of course the community. It wouldn't be anything without all the people just rocking up on the day, traveling far and wide, New Zealand being probably the furthest actually, and Singapore pretty far too. Nice one, Michael. And obviously it goes without saying, thank you, Mrs. Peach and Charlie. You're the best. You're the best. So thank you. And I can't not go without saying thank you to Steve and Helen. You are beasts in a good way. You really helped. Like last year, you were superstars. This year, you were superstars, giving up your own time to help Peachy out on his silly little con. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Steve and Helen. Big shout out to Stevie. Big shout out to Helen. Love you both. They sweated hard on that day. But yeah, it was just really nice seeing a lot of people in the flesh. People I recognised from Games Workshop. Derby as well as one of the old customers. So I recognise your face. I was like, yeah, I used to be this tiny when you worked at Derby. I was like, oh my days. So some of the old customers, weirdly I remember lots of the old customers' names, but people that I've probably like more contemporary folks I'm getting used to, couldn't remember. Also, a massive apology as well. I got handed an amazing set, a wetter set of Sharper Amon Hen. Again, I mentioned this on Jugs. I can pick you out in a lineup, but the name just disappeared during the day because it was just so busy, so much happened. But I just want to say thank you so much for passing that on. It's such a cool model. Just Sean Bean in all his glory with magnetized arrows if you want them on there as well. Everyone that came down, it was so nice. And a big thank you to the family as well. Obviously my mum and dad rocked up, friends as well rocked up to wish me well. Old Games Workshop colleagues, Chris, Chiara, new existing Games Workshop folks as well that still work there as well. They popped in. That's what I want to do next year. Might be shunned at head office, I don't care. But anyone, and if you're watching this, anyone from Games Workshop, reach out. You will be allowed a free ticket because I want you to come down and I want you to talk about all the work you've done. And I want you to show off about how hard you've worked at working at Games Workshop and get credit for the hard work you do. So if you are a member of Games Workshop, whether that is from the cleaners all the way up to the sculptors and beyond, you're welcome. You're welcome to come down, reach out, and the ticket's yours, and you can just populate the zone and talk about cool products. We'll make sure we have some more 40k orientated stuff and Warhammer stuff as well, I think. Yeah, a little bit more workshop visibility would be quite nice as well. And of course, big thank you to Louise for all the footage. I know I've said that already, but thank you. Right, well, that's it. Big thank you to everyone for watching. Obviously, my Patreon supporters, folks watching this video. Love you all. What I would say is, if you did attend PeachCon, chuck some feedback in here as well. What you'd like to see, what you don't want to change, what you would like to change. I have a bit of an inkling what would be the changes. What you expect from a con as well. I mean, something like, you know, maybe get some cosplayers in for next year or something like that. Maybe get some cosplayers and some Viking reenactors and get them to fight in the car park. That'll be fun. But yeah, if you've got any like hints, tips about running a con, or things, or food vendors that you know that might be local as well, so do throw into the comments your suggestions, your ideas, your thoughts, things you'd like to have happen. Anyone that had a goodie bag, was it not enough? Did you think that was a bit underwhelming? Maybe a few more bits thrown in, all that kind of stuff thrown into the comments. I'd appreciate it. But I am going to go off now and, well, make a big list of things to do, start looking at some feedback, and generally work out how to make a website to sell miniatures. Something I've never done before. I know there's people around that will help me with that. But yes, that is how you're going to get a private Peachy, Officer Peach, Rifleman Peach, maybe other versions of it. But I love you. Until the next video, Peachy out.